Hey guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about the PTR leaderboards right now. I got a lot of questions about what's going on, why is stuff so OP, the soul shards are nuts and all that stuff. So I want to pick it apart a little bit for you guys. So as you can see here, solo monk leaderboards are showing 2 minutes, 150 clears, for example. It is kind of similar on other classes depending on how hard people try. Essentially, you can do something kind of like that on any class right now. So there's no doubt soul shards are extremely powerful, more powerful than ethereals, which means that every single class will rather easily do 150 solo, legit. But there are also a lot of exploits going on right now, or simply straight up broken things that have to be fixed and will be fixed at some point. So the first and most obvious one, for example, is the double weapon shard exploit. So you can do that by just equipping the weapon and then putting in the shard. This goes around the limitation of having only one in your weapon, and you get two insanely powerful effects, essentially buffing your character by 3, 4, or 5 tiers or so easily, depending on how much you benefit from the second gem. And this goes in addition to especially the Helm gem, the Sliver of Terror, that gives most builds something like a 7 to 10 tier buff or so on its own, which is just incredibly powerful, and the Anguish gem that also has lots of cooldown reduction, some extra stats, extra damage, and lots of juicy mods that you can roll. Now the second thing that comes into play is actually this mod here. The killing an enemy deals the damage done by the death blow to all enemies within 25 yards. So this one has very curious scaling, which double dips on all of your global multipliers. So Bane of Trapped, in case you're playing LOD, you have that, you have like Shadows 2-piece, you have Veers. It's like all these stats that give you generic damage and not skill specific damage. Take the damage done from the last hit and then multiply it all again. So obviously this will lead to completely inflated numbers that's just one-shot everything. You don't even have to do the sever exploit stuff. This gem on its own essentially just blasts everything once you kill like one little monster, which is obviously completely broken. So this will be fixed. I guess it will just straight up deal exactly the amount of damage that you did to the enemy and not get any kind of multipliers. So it should work a little bit like area damage, I guess, where it also just takes the true damage done and then multiplies it by the value of your area damage. So this is how it is supposed to work, and there's just a little mistake here, I guess. And finally, there is also the Sliver of Terror with the secondary effect. You cast a devastating ring of fire after killing 50 enemies. So this looks like the Diablo fireball that leaves like the circle on the ground. And this, similar to Season 19 and Season 21 themes, scales with the greater width level that you are doing, to the point where it just completely melts everything, even up to 150 GR. You can see a little example here. This is from another streamer. And yeah, the boss is just dead, basically. I'm not exactly sure if this also scales with some stuff besides the greater width level, so there was a power pile involved here. But considering the amount of 150 clears and how fast they are, it doesn't really seem like you have to do much to make this work. And we see a 2 minutes clear already. So obviously this is completely nuts. And this will also be tuned down, guaranteed, I believe. So essentially with the overall increased power level of the shards, the weapon exploits giving you even more power, and then the on-death killing blow explosion combined with this ring of fire after 50 kills, the Greater Rift essentially completes itself. And most, or if not all of these like really high level clears are completely invalidated by all these broken things going on right now. So that's a bit of an issue, because there is definitely lots of testing to be done for the soul shards and the theme and all the different builds. So we literally have to test like 100 different builds now. Every single class is like 10 to 20 builds or so that definitely needs some time to be looked at. And most people just go with like the most OP stuff and yeah, not really do any proper testing, which is kind of a bad thing considering there's only 2 weeks of PTR most likely. So if you're doing your own testing on the PTR, I can just recommend to stay away from those 3 things. It's not like you're in danger of getting banned or whatever. This is what the PTR is about, but it's not a realistic showcase of any build's power if you use any of those 3 things. So I have actually avoided that. And I just try to do like proper testing, because eventually I want to make some guides, and there's obviously no point to test anything that will not be part of the seasonal release anyway. I believe there's also for sure going to be some balance passes besides fixing the obvious broken things. So for example, Sliver of Terror is simply too strong in my opinion, and it makes you just go face roll completely with all your cooldowns. It doesn't really have a real downside. That was like the main issue with this gem, for example. And also some of the other gems are simply not really worth picking for especially solo builds. Like there's one straight up support gem that in my opinion is kind of worthless. There's Sustain of Sin, which is just weak. And you have also this destruction gem that just has no way of competing with any of the other two gems in the helm. So there's definitely imbalances, but overall it's pretty cool to play around with all these different new gems. Try to also, for example, play the new Marauder Demon Hunter. I've cleared a GR150 with this yesterday, which was very cool. I can say that at least this build is a ton of fun. So I can just recommend you guys to try it out if you are fed up with the Gold Demon Hunter. So yeah, in essence, what you see from the PTR right now is most likely super inflated because of probably future balance adjustments plus fixes to the exploits. And then we'll see some actual testing, I guess, in a few days from now when the PTR patch comes. And we have like a more realistic vision of the patch to come. So this is what I wanted to highlight here. Just take everything with a grain of salt, of course, because usually it's not that imbalanced as it is right now on the PTR. So what we see is just completely nuts. In any case, I'm having a lot of fun on the PTR. I hope you are too if you're playing. Or if you're just watching. I'll be streaming live every day on Twitch right now. I'll be making the guides for you guys here on YouTube and also share whatever else I have to talk about. So hope you like this one and see you guys next time.